Together, folks, let's make 2020 the start of something special.
At the start of the year,
my aim for 2020
I was on my way to finishing college.
Was to travel and to kind of just mentally and physically prepare myself for university, as I knew that was coming up.
My plans were to finish college and go travelling with my camera and get more into photography more professionally.
And just to enjoy my life a little bit more rather than working all the time.
In central China, the race is on to identify a contagious virus and anyone carrying it.
A woman in her 70s has become the first person with coronavirus to die in the UK.
10 further deaths.
It's gone up to 104 now.
Of more than 500 deaths.
1,019 have now died.
Today I can announce that for the first time in our history, the government is going to step in and help to pay people's wages.
I was at work when the announcement came. We all watched the news at 5 o'clock when Boris Johnson decided to make the announcement that we were going into lockdown.
I felt very relieved when the first lockdown was announced. My work told me that they were closing and everyone was getting put on furlough. It was a big relief for me because on my final few months of college there was so much work, so much stress, so much pressure. It was nice to not have to think about work, and it was also really nice to get money from the government each week to support me throughout my lockdown period.
That night we just kind of said screw it, and we just kind of had like an amazing night with the staff and customers, to the point where the boss and the manager just kind of decided to do buy one get one free on beer, which was the highlight for a lot of locals who go to our pub regularly.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
So at the start, I was making music with my friends over Zoom calls. I released an EP, and then I got more into sports, so I ended up going cycling with my friends around the woods and taking my camera out.
For the most part, I had the best time. I enjoyed spending time with close family. I enjoyed loads of walks. I got to know my area far better from the walks that I did with my dogs. I just really enjoyed the weather as well. Like, we were fortunate to have like good weather. It was just fantastic.
I was taking some really nice photos and learning more about photography and a wildlife perspective.
The only downside that I really had to the first lockdown was the financial situation, really. Because my hours were quite low, the average then minus 20% wasn't great, but it was manageable, and because I wasn't using my car and I wasn't going anywhere or doing anything, it kind of balanced out, which thank God it did.
Well, despite being the most infected country in Europe, the UK has announced plans to roll back some of its COVID-19 restrictions. From July 4th, pubs, restaurants and hairdressers in England will reopen.
Going back to work was a weird experience. It kind of felt like we were coming back off of school holidays. I did really enjoy the time off, but I also knew that I needed to get back to work to earn some money and just to get myself socialising again.
To get customers back into restaurants, cafes and pubs and protect the 1.8 million people who work in them, I can announce today that for the month of August, we will give everyone in the country an Eat Out to Help Out discount.
When the Help Out scheme happened, I was still furloughed. Our work wasn't planning on reopening then, and this is where it got very stressful for me, because I thought I was going to lose my job in the middle of a pandemic.
When the Eat Out to Help Out scheme was announced, we knew that we were going to be fully booked, but it was a situation of you were kind of forced into participating in the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, because if there was a business that wasn't taking part, you knew for a fact that they were going to get less business because they weren't offering the £10 off, which was kind of a sad situation. And because everyone had missed the pub that I work at, the restaurant that I worked at, we probably wouldn't have even needed it.
From Thursday until the start of December, You must stay at home. Pubs, bars, restaurants must close except for takeaway and delivery services.
I was really lucky leading up to the second lockdown because I moved to Sheffield to go to university, and because of this I had to leave my role at work in Harrogate. However, they transferred me over to the Sheffield branch, which has really put a massive weight off my shoulders, as I can still financially support myself while going through university.
The second lockdown didn't affect me as much as I'd left my job by then to start university.
And we have some breaking news for you this morning, because in the last few minutes we've heard that the first coronavirus vaccine has been approved for use in the UK by the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency.
Next year I hope that everything's back to normal. I can get back into working with new people at a new branch and hopefully make some new friends over there and get into more managerial roles while going through university.
My aim is for next year to hopefully go back into hospitality, as I do miss working in it and spending time with customers and people.